Oh, about time. Manchester United doesn't have excuse again. They are running out of excuses. Ten Hag at this rate could be packing his load anytime soon. We have a new boss at North London. Take it or leave it. Angel Postaco is the new sheriff in town. That's the show, and that's how we're going to be starting the show today. My name is Silaleja Adebowale, 60 minutes of sport with Newsinstanta Sport. Of course, I have my lovely and my good friend Uroku Kachi that people have been accusing of giving them fake odds. And of course, I have Sheyi, our boxing expert, and of course, one of our calmest analysts in the house. No emotions attached. I'll allow you guys to introduce yourself, and I'll start with not Kachi. So I'll start with Sheyi.
Sporting fans around the world, welcome again. Welcome once again. And such an eventful weekend, especially the Liverpool Spurs game. What a shame, a show of shame for the English refs once again. And also the boxing world witnessed a reassurance of the biggest boxing star in the world, talking about Canelo, retaining his super middleweight undisputed status. And also, I think like the boy is trying to send a message to Manchester United fans and Ten Hag. No more excuses. I think it's time to actually start picking up the points to show that you really know what you are doing. At this moment, I think the ghost of Sancho will definitely be haunting Ten Hag. Welcome everyone.
All right, perfect. Of course, Kachi.
Sport fans, good to be back after a 2-week break. I definitely missed you guys. I was in hiding after the shellacking that my beloved AC Milan received from the little brother just across the pond in Inter. But a good bounce back by the team. They had a very underwhelming week, losing to Inter and then failing to get all 3 points against Newcastle in the Champions League. But bouncing back against Lazio and Cagliari was good. This coincides with Magic Mike returning between the sticks. There has always been some form of good luck to the team. Like Sheyi also did mention, some interesting boxing news, which we will delve into. But oh, what a fantastic basketball offseason we are getting to see. I already have my predictions for the Eastern Conference Finals for next year. Stay tuned. All this we'll talk about. Welcome once again.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Uroku. And of course, we'll start with football. I know most of our fans want to listen to football first before basketball. And fortunately, you have to give them what they want, right? I know we want to talk about the Canelo fight. We want to talk about, and I have a couple of questions for Kachi as well. But we'll go straight into the UEFA Champions League preview. A couple of games. I saw someone mention last on our social media, the WhatsApp group. Someone said Manchester City are in crisis right now. I'm like, crisis? What crisis? But of course, they'll be facing RB Leipzig in the Champions League. That's a big one for them. As a matter of fact, Leipzig is doing wonderfully well. Penda scoring one of the goals as a drew against Bayern Munich. As Bayern Munich actually held them to a 2-2 draw over the weekend. And Man City are not firing on all cylinders right now. Should be told, but of course they're missing their big guy in Rodri. Very important guy, like Miko Dumoye will say, it's the machine oiling the equipment itself. I would like to take your early prediction. I'll start with Uroku Kachi, and of course, Kola Onabanjo is looking at you right now. He's probably going to bet based on your prediction. So be careful what you say right now.
You just made me come there, but Kola, if you're watching this show, I truly, truly hope you are not homeless right now. Because I'm pretty sure I put a caveat in all my predictions that do not bet your house or your this 13th month salary on my predictions. I'm not one of those people, but it's good to know we have people who watch us, support us. We definitely need all that support. For that game, I don't believe that is the match of the game of this match day 2. I'm sure we'll get to that, but this is definitely one of the marquee games of match day 2. Leipzig versus City. Leipzig coming coming up big in the Bundesliga, but I don't think they will be able to navigate what has now become a European juggernaut in Manchester City. The best they can hope to get would be a draw. I personally would be surprised if Leipzig gets more than a draw from this game. I do think they get a draw out of it, which would be a great result for them. But general expectation will be that City navigates this. Especially, City is one team you don't want to play after they lose a game. They are really not the kind of team that spirals into a crisis after losing one game. Instead, they tend to bounce back. I didn't mention club names. I just told you don't join my club for reasons such as this. but I expect City to have a better game than they did against Wolves, which was totally against the run of play. Whatever the scoreline was, 2-1 in favor of Wolves. Yeah. I do think City should win, but I'm just sticking out my neck to say Leipzig gets a draw out of this. This ends in a 2-2 draw.
All right, perfect. Okay, what about you? You looking out for a 2-2 draw as well, or you say City will just come out? I know you're a hater anyway, so.
I of course, obviously, I think it's going to be an interesting game. Also, just to mention, Man City's key man for the match, Rodri, yeah. I think he's going to be back. His red card is just.
It does not affect the Champions League.
Exactly, and it was obviously really missed in that their loss against Wolves. He's going to be back.
And Newcastle.
He's going to be back, and I think they will have a proper team to play Leipzig. I think Guardiola is also returning to his old stomping yard, and that's going to be a good matchup against his former teammates. However, I think Man City should be able to get a slim win in this particular draw. We still know that they are still the best team in Europe, if not in the world, and I expect them to prove that.
All right, perfect. Of course, Olale, welcome to the show. I'm pretty sure you have something to say about that. What's your early prediction for this one?
About the game between City and
Leipzig.
Leipzig.
Yeah, RB Leipzig.
Sorry,
of Germany. RB Leipzig of Germany.
And Atlanta.
Man
Sorry,
City.
guys.
And Man City.
RB Leipzig and Manchester City.
Man City.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a bit tricky for City, but I think with Rodri back, I think what we saw over the weekend was cumulative of too many things not in place. There was no Kevin De Bruyne, there was no Rodri, so I think the midfield lost a bit of steam. But with Rodri back and the way he's been playing, I expect him to have a little bit of more influence in the game. I think City want to respond as early as possible because they have another tough game coming up at the weekend. Against Arsenal. Yeah. I just think they will have enough weapons within their rank to dismiss whatever RB Leipzig is going to put. Yeah. Of course, it could be a bit tough, but it's still a City win for me.
All right. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they played a draw last season in the Champions League as well, in the knockout stages at Germany, and City whitewashed in England, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think that was. I that was that second round or something.
Yeah, second round. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to confirm that. But I'm going to stay with you on this one. We have back-to-back hits in the group of Dortmund Milan, Newcastle, and PSG. Newcastle will be hosting PSG. PSG, bar, and I'm saying this with all emphasis, bar Ousmane Dembele, the front three is killing. The midfield is solid. The back line too looks good, as a matter of fact. What should we expect for this one? I know you're a little bit biased. You have a little bit of bias towards Newcastle. What do you expect of this one, Olali?
Yes, I have a bit of bias towards Newcastle, probably because I still have a very good memory of, I think, their first showing at the in the UEFA Champions League when they won away to Barcelona 3-2, thanks to that Faustino Asprilla hat. But taking a look at this PSG team, I think they are getting a little bit better as things move
Balance.
on. Yes, they played a disappointing 0-0 draw today against Clermont, which wasn't really an encouraging, what do you call it, affair, despite having the front three of the result story, despite having the front three of Mbappe, Kolomwani, and Dembele all starting. But I expect the Champions League to be a little bit different. I expect them to approach it with some sort of what do you call it, urgency.
Yeah.
And I think Newcastle too, they are eating from about the right time. There will be I think Isaac is going to start up front with Wilson clearly out. I think we'll see Gordon starting too with Abby Barnes. I think they have a little bit of decision. I think in terms of selection, Newcastle have I think the coach has less, what do you call it, edge in terms of, because due to some injuries which they have. But I think they are eating from about the right time. As I see goes in this one, I think both teams are going to score. I'll go for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. All right, perfect. Sheyi, what about you? What's your early prediction for this one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a PSG away win. However, I want to see how the PSG defense can deal with Trippier's set pieces. I think that's going to go a long way for Newcastle's outcome at the end of the day. But I still think the likes of Mbappe might just be too tricky for aging Trippier to defend against, and that might be just the difference on the night.
All right, Rocco Kachi.
I'm definitely biased with this group, simply because the team I root for also is here.
That's true.
And I believe that whoever will make it out of this group will be the team that maximizes its home games the most. Something Milan has failed to do in match day
in the first game
when they dropped points. So because of that bias, I definitely want a draw, or at the very most, a Newcastle win. Just so, because if PSG wins, they are pretty much run away with one of the two qualifying slots in that group by having 6 out of 6. So that's definitely not what I want. However, in spite of their performance against Clermont over the weekend, I still believe that talent-wise, PSG is better. I've not seen them very cohesive, and I think that's really the edge that Newcastle will have. If they can just have a spell, a 10, 15-minute spell where they play frenetic Premier League level of football. When I say Premier League level, I'm talking of where they relentlessly just come at you. Whether they get tired after that 15 minutes, reminiscent of what, you know how it is in the Premier League, where if a team, the home side, is trailing the last 10 minutes, no matter how good, even if it is Manchester City, no matter how good you are, if City is playing Burnley and Burnley is losing 1-0 in the 85th minute, City knows that they will be bombarded for the next 10 minutes. So if Newcastle can get that 10-15 minute spell and they play that type of back to the wall type of football, I think they get their goals. However, I agree with Sheyi particularly that this is a game that PSG would somehow manage to navigate and get that unpopular win. PSG to win it.
All right, perfect. Kachi, I'm going to stay with you. Dortmund versus Milan. You guys are traveling to Germany. You guys are traveling to
Can I
Germany.
pretend my
Okay, so sorry, we are traveling. We Milan fans are traveling to Germany.
No.
Olale, just in case you don't know, officially I've adopted AC Milan and Real Madrid as my second and third team respectively. I want some Champions League medals too.
In your record.
Yeah, exactly. So, Olale, I know you are beefing me already, but it's not my fault that your team has just 3 Champions League. Kachi.
Yeah, definitely a tough one. Remember when I said the Leipzig Man City game is not the game of match day 2. I think the games of match day 2 are coming from this group: Newcastle's PSG and Milan Dortmund. Dortmund in a rich vein of form, although they've been slightly inconsistent, but you know what you will get from Dortmund. It will be a pressing game. I think Dortmund wins this. Maybe not convincingly, but I think Dortmund wins it. And this is me being objective and not wearing my fan hat. I don't think this current Milan team, there are too many new faces, and it has led to a lack of cohesion in the early part of the season. This game is coming too early for them, and I don't think they will have enough to navigate it. If they do, it will be due to individual performances, which is what we now need from a certain Rafael Leao. Yes, he's getting the assist, but he has not played to his MVP level of 2 seasons ago. If he's going to have a turnaround game, this is it. But I think Dortmund wins this.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Shay, what about you? Quickly, what should we expect from this one?
I think Dortmund's playing from at home, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I'm not so convinced about AC Milan, especially dropping points against Newcastle on game 1. I actually tipped them to take the 3 points on the night. So right now, I don't know what they can really do away from home. It's going to be a little bit dicey on that part. Obviously, the group is already poised to be that way. But I think Dortmund will be all out to get their first 3 points in the group if they will have a chance to even get out of that group. So for me, I would lean towards Dortmund to get maybe a slim win, probably with a hot goal, 2-1 or 1-0.
Oh, wow. Lale, I hope you are going to support Milan this time around and tell us you are going to win. We Milan fans.
Well, I think psychologically, why this would be a very pretty difficult game for Dortmund, and I think we might probably see Milan probably playing their best game of the group stage in that encounter. The last thing the Milan they missed a very big opportunity against Newcastle. They should have won the game. They didn't 100%. Win. The last thing you want to do is to go into the PSG game with either 1 point or 2 points, knowing you have to play PSG back to back. Which means if you are going there with 1 point or 2 points, technically by the end of match day 4, you could find yourself probably eliminated from the competition. So that makes this match a little bit more important for Milan. And I think we'll see a bit of more conservative approach from them, at least in the early stage. I'm sure they don't want to concede early on. I see this game to ending in a draw. I think Milan will. Because for all due respect to Dortmund, they are not really a great side, at least at the level of the European football. Probably in Germany, yes, but European-wise, I think Milan, if they could up their game, getting a draw from Germany, it's something that is very possible.
But Dortmund is like, I don't know why you guys are tipping out for Dortmund. Dortmund is like the Arsenal of Europe. They flatter to deceive every time. I don't know. Okay. So you are calling a draw, right?
A draw, yes.
Okay. For me, I'm rooting for Milan to win this game. Let's see how it goes, anyways. But I'm going to stay with you, and this will be before the Napoli Real Madrid game. There was what was all over the place in the course of the week was the TikTok whatever post of me of Napoli uh, showing a whole lot of disrespect to Victor Osimhen and calling him a coconut. I'm a coconut. I'm not a male. I'm not a female. I'm a coconut. I want the penalty. Blah blah blah. Which I feel is very disrespectful. And stuff like this happen. And being a content creator myself, I can tell you for free that most of the people that does this thing are probably teenagers or kids, so to speak. So they see fun in most things. That being put aside, now Napoli came out with a watered down apology.
Mhm.
It's a treasure of Napoli, but there was no sorry, there was no concrete or deliberate effort on the part of Napoli to apologize to this guy. And it's something like you and I spoke on earlier. This is not something that is expected of the Italians, that the worst racist or racially biased set of human beings, apart from the Germans in the world, as far as I know. You know, I've not traveled many places, anyways. So this is just speaking from my own perspective of what the little I've seen from football. Uh, how do you think things like this? Do you think Napoli have done enough to treasure this guy, to apologize to this guy, or this is just about no, we want to pressure him and ensure that he feels guilty about it? I don't, because realistically, on behalf of Victor Osimhen, and I love Victor. I'm appalled, annoyed, devastated, I'm hungry at the system of Napoli. Olale.
Funny enough, they've gotten two positive results since that
Incident.
uh incident. A convincing 4-1 win against Udinese during the
The
midweek
midweek.
and a 4-0 win against Lecce. Going with the incident, um, I'm not surprised, and rather was I disappointed about Napoli's what do you call it? Response and approach, as in the way they handle the whole thing. Because I think the moment Bonucci and one other player came out to have and to justify, I think, a racial abuse towards somebody, like it wasn't a big deal. I think that gives you a picture of how the entire society, Italian society,
Think
view this. And there was a time when Romelu Lukaku was doing well at Inter. There was one particular song that his home fans, what do you call it, composed for him, that has
yeah,
something, that has a racial on that tune. That is the song they want to use to praise him. That shows, number one, their perception, the Italian society, the way they don't see racism as a big deal. That is who they are. They don't see it as a big deal. So, was I surprised by that? No. And looking at the way things unfolded last season, probably there was whether it was deliberate or whether it was just a coincidence, there was an attempt to probably make not to make
commercial
Cavachella as the face of, what do you call it,
of the
of the
league.
Napoli success,
Yeah,
or of the league. So I think there are some parts, it's just me thinking, I
yeah,
think there are some parts of the Italian press, Italian media and the fan base that probably would not be comfortable to see Osimhen as the face of their league or the
yeah.
face of the Napoli story.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you can say, is Osimhen the first back player that probably be part of a winning team, that probably you could argue Eto was part of the Inter Milan team, but in that
It
Inter
wasn't
Milan in that Milan team, you have a lot of
Diego Milito,
notable stars,
Wesley Schneider. Yeah,
exactly, that you could call it a collective team. But there is this thing about that Napoli story that every point in time you look at it points towards Osimhen. And
uh-huh.
another thing you have to look at that Napoli thing is, even about 2-3 years ago, when this their biggest boy, their star, what's his name? This guy that went
Insane,
to
insane.
Lorenzo Insigne and some other couple of guys. There is this issue with their penalty kicks taking. Like, there is no I think they have a problem. The coaches doesn't have a definite penalty taker.
Yeah.
And they over time, over those years, I'm sure they've missed a lot of players, different players. They have missed reasonable amount of penalties. There's been a lot of outcry from Nigerians, probably to make Osimhen
a penalty taker.
Exactly. So that looks very funny. Where that was coming from looks very funny, but I wasn't surprised. I wasn't disappointed. It is who they are, and
They'll never change.
I don't think you can change it.
All right, perfect. Of course, that's good. That's the good thing about Nigerians. You just don't mess with us. We change the narrative single-handedly on social media. We did. Nobody did it for us. We don't need PR. We'll make you eat your words, and that's why we are Nigerians. That's why we are 300 million people. Whenever you want to think about it, Kachi, you are from a racially biased society. I can't hear you again, Kachi, because you are semi-Italian. Your audio is bad right now. That's what you get for supporting AC Milan. Okay, say something, Kachi. Let me know. Let me make sure I can hear you now. Go ahead, Shaq. Go ahead, Kachi. No, I can't hear you. You're muted for some reason right now, so you can unmute yourself. Okay, go ahead. I still can't hear you, Kachi. Okay, go ahead.
I said I just realized you immediately denied us like Peter denied Jesus. 1 second, AC Milan was your team. Now, because of this racist incident,
yes, I'll think about it again.
We never wanted you in our team. To Olawale's point, the Italian society is one of those societies in Europe where it is grayed out when someone is being like, they don't even see it that they are being racist because they have done it for long. They've gotten away with it. You know, when a child has not been punished for something since he was a kid, and then all of a sudden at 18 years old, you're trying to tell a child that the same thing he did and got away with not as much as a slap on the wrist, is now criminally offensive. This has been one thing that has hindered the development of the Italian league. Let's not forget that in the last 8 years, we only started seeing the return of black superstars in about 3-4 years ago. There was a systematic exodus of stars of
black descent,
minority colors plying their trade in Italy. In fact, people prefer to go to the likes of Russia, the likes of Germany to ply their trade as against coming to Italy. And this, I believe, sets not just the Italian league, sets Napoli back a long way. It set them back 2 years, in my opinion, in whatever progress they want to make. Yes, Osimhen came out today to say he still loves Napoli, but I definitely assure you that Osimhen would not be signing a contract extension. I watched and listened to Gabriel Marcotti's podcast, and he said Philas is telling him the initial reason why they don't have a contract extension was because Napoli wanted to put. They're pretty much discussing the buyout clause, just in case Real Madrid or Manchester United come calling. Right now, Osimhen would gladly wear out his contract and then leave as a free agent. I think relationship has soured simply because of how De Laurentiis handled this.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything until Osimhen himself said something. And also the fact that he's also being probed for something criminal about how he was able to sign Victor Osimhen. I don't think Osimhen wants that noise. My own fear really is he's going to toe the Odion Ighalo line and go for monetary rewards right now as against trying to get the kind of career the Drogbas, the Eto'os, the Kanos of this world got. Because if that's the case, Osimhen is most likely going to...
Don't worry, it's coming to England. Don't worry about that. It's coming to England. Where in England is the secret? I'm not going to tell you. Shay, I want to throw a different question to you, anyways. Real Madrid versus Napoli. Osimhen back-to-back goals. They were struggling over the weekend. He came in, scored a goal, changed the tempo of the game, and they eventually won the game. Like Olali rightly said, 4-0. A repeat of that. Madrid have been struggling attacking wise. They are still looking at Bellingham and Rodrigo to get them the goals. What do you think is going to be our outcome of this one?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit close. I think they have Real Madrid have the young Brazilian back on the pitch right now. That's what's his name again? Playing from the left wing.
Vinny?
Yeah, Vinny. Vinny is back from injury. Also, I think Cavara is also back because I know they've been missing that experience, that burst of pace and calmness from the right wing for the last 1 month thereabout. Jude will definitely play as Jude. But the question is, should they continue to rely on Joselu in attack? Anyway, they don't. But at times they decide to play false nine and see how they play together from the midfield into the attack. So that's still left for us to see what they will do against Napoli on the night. Napoli with obviously not too perfect midfield, but something that they can work with. The attack is still there. Talking about Osimhen, we expect him to start on the night.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fantastic close game. But I still think Real Madrid will come out tops on the night. I think they have the personnel, they have the experience, and the second name of Champions League is actually Real Madrid.
That's why I support Real Madrid. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm a Real Madrid fan as well. Kashi, I want to come to you. There's going to be Manchester United versus Galatasaray. United running out of excuses, like I said at the start of the show. I don't understand what should be done. The coach has actually tried different tactics. He has actually tried to tweak things around and see how situations can actually get better for the team. Doesn't look good. Hannibal, I think the formation against Burnley was pretty solid with Hannibal playing off the two strikers. Rashford has been the culprit for Manchester United start of the season with his bad decisions. And honestly, last season they had so many situations where they kept a clean sheet. That saved them a whole lot. But now they've been shipping in goals. So the shift of balance does not look for them right now. What should we expect from the game against Galatasaray? I don't forget Galatasaray too. I've been fighting to deceive. We thought they would look good, but out of all their games I've seen so far this season, they've not been impressive in the Turkish league. Personally,
they haven't been impressive. But, they have experience playing. Looks like my sound is not so good right now. So
I can hear you now.
Do this.
Okay.
So, as I said, yes, they've been flattering to deceive, but they also boast a couple of players that I think, if I remember clearly, have experience playing in England.
Yeah.
United. It's sad when a club with the magnitude of United, you remember the coach more for the amount of fights he has had with players, the amount of victory he has recorded, and that is not a slight or a personal dig. The coach is drawing too much attention to himself, and I think that is causing a lot of distraction in really building the team in his image. I mean, ETH that I knew before coming to. I knew ETH more from how well Ajax was playing than who he was as a person. I had no information about his personal life. I just saw ETH through the eyes of the lens of Ajax. Now, obviously, United is 10 times bigger than Ajax. The pressure, the attention, the media coverage is more. So a lot more is being exposed. but he has not successfully managed that attention. I'm not sure if it's the pressure of the expectation of the club and the fans. I'm not sure if it's what the Glazers are telling him. But footballing aside, it is difficult right now. There's a popular Nigerian guy on Instagram who every Saturday comes out with odds for people, for the betting public to bet. And every Saturday evening, he comes out and he cries that he doesn't know why, even though he's been given too many instances, he doesn't know why he still selects Manchester United to win their games. So it's going to be very difficult for me right now because I have not seen enough to tell me United can, in one game, turn it around. They've lost to mid-level teams. They've lost to title contending teams. I was not expecting them to lose to Crystal Palace. So the morale is really low. And because of that, hold yourself, Sheyi and Olawale. Because of that, Galatasaray will be winning this game.
Oh, at Old Trafford.
At Old Trafford, yes.
If Galatasaray should win this game, I can't guarantee his job again.
Hold yourself. Olawale and Sheyi, do not watch the game. If you can do it, do your best not to watch that match. Watch other games.
If that happens, it's going to be a crazy one.
But this is Orakukachi. I'm really spelling doom here, and this is really because I have not seen enough to make
from United.
Hang my hat on
United.
100%. There just hasn't been enough. On paper, 100%. This is a game. This should be one of the 3 points United should count towards their second round qualification. But they've lost to Crystal Palace, playing on inspired football. They've lost to Brighton and Hove, playing non-existent football. So based on that, they lost to Arsenal, capitulating in the final 30 minutes. So because of that, I can't vouch for United.
Fight for United. All right, Prophet Kashi is not vouching for United. Inter Milan versus Benfica, Porto versus Barcelona, Chelsea versus Lazio. Those are the remaining games, and it's the good games that are going to be playing the UEFA Champions League. Well, because we are pressed for time, we'll move straight to England right now. Where Liverpool, I'm going to start with Liverpool versus Spurs game. That Spurs won 2-1. Controversially, if you ask me. Tactical acumen by master play by Jurgen Klopp, playing with 9 men. After those massive errors, refereeing errors, one for a disqualified goal, the second one for the yellow card that this guy had. What's his name again? The Goyota had before he finally got his red card. A lot of bad decisions in that game. But of course, you can't take the praise away from Spurs. You can't take away the praise away from Liverpool as well with what they did after going down 9-0. I've never seen that kind of tactical acumen. I've never seen that kind of
discipline.
Thank you. Yeah, that kind of discipline before for a very, very long time. You see that in Italian teams, not in English teams. I want to start with you on this one. How do you feel after seeing this game with what Klopp did, even though they lost? But I'll give him his flowers. With what Angel has been able to do with Spurs, with the way they play, and they never die attitude of theirs, and of course the poor refereeing on the night as well. Alali.
The first 20 minutes was arguably one of the best end-to-end stuff that I've seen in a long time. Two teams willing to you are very certain at that point that there will be goals in this game. It's just a matter of time and when. And there come that red card to Curtis Jones. And my problem with the way the VAR works is this. In as much as at times some of these decisions are always correct, I've not seen any referee standing by his or her own decision despite going to the VAR board and VAR what do you call it screen. Now, this is the problem with VAR using to judge most let me say reckless tackle. The way you see most of these things in replay or in slow motion is quite different from the way it happens. Curtis Jones actually kicked the ball, he got the ball, but the ball is his legs slide off the ball to hit the man, which I think a yellow card is just fair. And personally, I won't have my way. I'll probably remove red card in football. I don't like it, and I don't believe in a team playing 10 against 11 in any format. If I have my way, somebody that has a red card, as long as the team has what do you call it? They've not used their substitutions. It has to be a compulsory substitution and probably some few match suspension. But I don't like the idea of somebody playing 10 against 11. It's just like the NBA when a player can be ejected. That's what I see. I don't like this idea of playing 10 against 11. But again, now I think that is not even the main issue. I think the main point was the what do you call it? That Luis Diaz goal. When I saw it on TV the first time, I was very convinced that Luis Diaz was onside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it took like 2 minutes or thereabout for them to decide. But what we are now getting from the what do they call them, PG or whatever, is that like there was a miscommunication. Like the guy from the what do you call it, the VAR feels like his communication was for them to count the goal. Somehow, I think the excuse was not tenable. And I think I respect Liverpool's statement where they said I think they want further inquiry. That significant error is not enough. It's for the good of the game. And I think we are having this problem because the English FA have decided to behave like a dictator when it comes to issue of referees. Right from the field where players cannot challenge them. See, football is an emotional game. The coolest human being on earth, as long as you are playing any sport or you are a football that where you use your heart, there is a way naturally you react to something. You just want to turn players to robots. Like you can't react. It's automatically a yellow card. That aside, and the moment they made this thing about you can't question referee's decision, and what I've discovered in the past few weeks, I don't know who came out some few weeks ago. The officials that referee that Chelsea versus what do you call it, Spurs game last season, that said he didn't call attention of the referee, his friend, to review that because he doesn't want to put him on the spot. You can understand that kind of excuse. You don't want to put him on the spot, and you allowed a legitimate call, or what do you call it?
Notice,
go on notice. So at that point, I decide, okay, I think we have a bunch of guys at this VAR who are now using their personal discretion or what they feel they want, or using their personal discretion,
their personal bias
now to control the outcome of games or outcome of some certain decisions. Because that's the way it felt. The other time, and not talk about a lot of inconsistency this season alone. This guy was on TV defending. Okay, it was United Spurs. There was a ball Garnacho kick that hit Romero's hand.
Yeah.
He said it was because he gave an excuse why that could not be awarded. And the same thing was given to Arsenal against Romero. And when he was asked, the guy couldn't even just say anything. It was just robbery around there, blah, 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 blah. So I think the FA put themselves in this situation. There should be more transparency. There should be more accountability. They should release the voice, what do you call it? The voice conversation, doing that review. Let's see what actually happened to even be sure that
what actually transpired.
Because you can't keep IDBC away, protecting referees, this and that.
100%.
Because this thing is spoiling the game.
Yeah,
that was an unacceptable decision, and I think if we can't get VAR right, as much as I love VAR, we should just accept the referee's error based on one-time seeing. I think it's better than having a chance to review something to make a correction.
I still get it wrong.
All
right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Alali. Kachi, I'm going to come straight to you. And these have found these allegations and honestly, these are things that you see. I'm like, okay, and we see it in sports because of betting situation, because of personal bias. Barcelona are being alleged of bribery and corruption, which I feel personally that they are guilty of. Is a corrupt invested institution. It's a shining institution of corruption and bribery. So I'm not going to be surprised. Do you think this is something that could be an undertone in England as well that some people are trying to protect?
You never rule out anything. It will be very foolish of me to completely rule it out simply because we don't have the facts. But one thing that we do know, and one thing we've always talked about on this show, is that the quality of officiating in the English Premier League has left more bitter taste in the mouth than clarity. I once remember saying one way to fix this is to ship all the referees, just swap them, because these referees have allegiances. These referees are humans. These referees probably are owing some very wicked people who have prevailed on them to affect games. So it will be difficult for me to sit here and tell you that we should totally eliminate the fact that biases from betting or from gambling is severely impacting the quality and the level of officiating. I think they should take a cue from what the Uber Eats League One does, which is for every VAR review, the discussion is played out. I'm not sure if it is a live play out, but I've watched two instances where the discussion between the referee and the VAR room was clear for everyone to hear about. How they arrived at it, what VAR recommended, what the referee said, and how they arrived at that decision. Until they openly or transparently make that available, we will never totally rule out the fact that there is human manipulation and vested interest in how officiated. Because one way they've tried to do it is to say, oh, by the way, we have VAR. But VAR has not made things better. Right now, we are getting, and you put something up in our social media page, close to 14 games that have been adversely affected by VAR not correctly adjudicating what they should adjudicate. Yeah. So either they make the conversation live, like they do in NFL, where you hear them. You will clearly hear the officiating, the guys on field discussing with the guys in the booth and what the recommendation is. If they cannot do that, then they should do what Klopp and Liverpool FC have recommended. Give us more in-depth investigation. Let us have the tapes. Let us, if you're not going to play it to the public, let us listen to it. Because there was a 15 to 20 second interval from where the referee ruled offside and the VAR man, I'm not sure whether he went then to go and get a drink in the fridge. That would be like, oh wait, this ball is not in the center circle. Referee, don't let them play that ball. Don't let them play the offside. Yeah. This is my initial decision. So
yeah, exactly.
I find it very hard to believe that VAR assumed.
I didn't even assume that. Something I'm watching live.
You get the point now. So it will be hard for me to sit and tell you, oh no, we have to rule out that the English they are very spam people. Let's not do that. A lot of crime has been committed in the name of doing good in the history of the English. So we can't totally rule them out or rule out the fact that some vested interests are affecting the integrity of the results of games. And for me, it is shameful. Bring all NPL referees to England. Send all English referees to Kaduna Township Stadium to rule and see how they beat referees.
How they beat referees.
And it will change one or two minds. But on a more serious note, we definitely cannot rule it out. It is a shame that in 3 years of having VAR, there's been more controversies than having gray areas resolved.
All right, perfect. So you just said two of the officials officiated in UAE
Again
on
on
Thursday,
Thursday. Yes.
48 hours before
Yes.
the game.
That
It's crazy.
that's another point for the English FA. I still don't understand how they allowed that. How they
Yeah.
gave the go ahead to the refs to also officiate in UAE in the Middle East and come back to England to take
To
on
England
roles.
to call
There could be
within
after
48
yeah,
hours.
48 hours between those two games. Imagine. And normally they have one full day to prepare for
Yes.
whatever game they are going to
They are
officiate.
playing.
So tell me how they are going to come into a game and have that 100% focus for that
Focus.
kind of game, the top game for the weekend. It's
Exactly.
a shame, really.
All right, perfect. We have 10 minutes left on the show. So like I said, Liverpool lost controversially against Spurs. Spurs won 2-1, closely following Manchester City on the log right now. Aston Villa whitewashed Brighton and Hove 6-1. It was a whitewash, only working with an hat-trick. Arsenal defeated, even though they were not at their best, defeated Bournemouth. Kai Havertz eventually scored a goal for Arsenal. If I beat him not being impressive again, and of course, one of my favorites and one of my favorite for relegation, Everton lost at home against Luton City. Luton City, I think they are the first out of the three clubs that came from the EFL to get a 3 points right now. Before now, they were only one without points. We won just 1 point, but now they have 3 points against who else but everything. Crystal Palace defeated United away from home 1-0. Anderson scoring that goal. I wonder what she and Olawale are taking right now. Newcastle defeated Burnley 2-0. West Ham defeated Sheffield United 2-0. And of course, Wolverhampton did a strong one against Manchester City. We have 9 minutes left. I don't know if you guys want to touch any of these matches or just want us to go straight to boxing and basketball within the 9 minutes. What are your suggestions?
I think we touched on the City game when we previewed the UCL.
Yeah, 100%.
Boxing.
Right.
It's no longer a shock that United lost.
Okay.
Let's not add more insult to injury, please.
All right, perfect. Sheyi, I want to start with you. Canelo, Charles.
I'm trolling so hard, guys.
Charles, Charlo, with their game in their bout, 12th round. Canelo looks solid. More to come from him. What are the expectations? Quickly.
Yes, on the night, I think it was two undisputed champions facing each other. Charlo on the super welterweight division and Canelo from the super middleweight. But the bout was actually in the super middleweight class. And it was, I think it was a show of too much respect for Canelo on the night from the aspect of Charlo's side, because I think it was as if he trained so much for defense rather than also training for how to attack Canelo, how to exploit the weaknesses of Canelo. So all through the night, it was Canelo attacking and Charlo defending. The few times we saw Charlo tried to actually throw in a little bit of combination and jabs. He actually got some, landed some punches. But you can definitely see all through the night that he fought to survive the ring against Canelo all through. And that actually didn't give us that kind of explosive fight we were looking at. If you compare the people that fought Canelo in the past, the likes of Killer Plant, the likes of Billy, GGG, and just a few of them in recent years. You can see the people that have tried to go toe to toe with Canelo. We've been able to see explosive boxing bouts. However, I think Charlo would. I think he went in there respecting himself, fighting against the biggest boxer in the world at the moment, try as much as possible to retain a little bit of respect for himself, being an undisputed champion himself in his own weight class. It was not really whitewashed, but it was outboxed totally on the night. So for him, it's actually just respect to Canelo. And at the end of the game, I recall him calling out Bud Crawford. So we hope to see that happening.
That's very soon. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Shay. Kachi, I'm going to come straight to you now. Fury versus Usyk, like we said, behind closed doors. AJ actually made Usyk look like a good fighter. I don't think, with what I saw of his last match, I don't think he's that of a good fighter. What's the possible outcome we're expecting from this?
The only possible outcome is we'll have a unified champion. Ultimately,
that's true.
Which is one thing the heavyweight class desperately needs. We desperately need someone to have that larger than life reputation and title to go with that reputation. Now, Fury has that reputation, but the titles are not with him. So one thing definitely that we will get from this fight is that at some point in either December or January, one person between Fury and Usyk would be the undisputed heavyweight champion. Now, in terms of what will happen, neither were, yes, we know Fury did what Fury would do, but neither have been overtly dominant in their last title defense. Fury was clinical, did what he had to do. He fought, what's the name of this guy, that the journeyman that everybody, once you don't have a good person to fight, they just tell you to go and...
Derek?
Who?
White.
Yes,
I think it was Dylan White. I think Dylan White was his last fight. I can't remember. But Dylan White, in my own opinion, is if there's no reputable person to fight, if AJ and Deontay are not available, Dylan White, go and make a quick 8 million and get your butt beaten. So it will be a good test for Fury, definitely, especially because he's going to go against a faster jabber than AJ. They said AJ is reputable for being a fast jabber, but I've not seen it. Let's not forget that Fury will be coming off a bout in exactly 4 weeks' time against Francis Ngannou.
That's a comedy.
I don't know if he will have his reputation intact. Because Ngannou definitely has a puncher's chance. I'm not saying Ngannou will win. He has a puncher's chance. So Fury may not even be going there with his reputation intact. But I don't expect it to be explosive. I think if Fury is going to win, he's going to win dominating the game, the bout from start to finish. If Usyk is going to win it, it's going to be because Fury did not come with his A game on that day. But I definitely want to see somebody hold that belt and every other hawk in the heavyweight class
try to catch it. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Kachi. Olali, I'm going to come to you now. 2 minutes left. Best point guard in this show of NBA, Magic Johnson or Steph Curry, and why are you choosing one or the other? And your reputation is on the line, Olali, for this one, just so you know. Is Olali still with us? Oh God.
Olali, I really want to get your take on this.
I really want you to. You cannot run away from this one.
Olali is sitting on the fence. He's sitting on the fence as usual.
You cannot sit on the fence. Okay. Oh yeah, Olali, I'm listening to you. No. Your reputation is on the line. Magic Johnson or Steph Curry.
There is nothing like sitting on the fence. At times there are different views about some matter, but this is quite simple.
Okay, great.
What is the role of a point guard? PG. The role of a point guard is like they call them the coach's face on the court. Yeah. It's like the playmaker in a football pitch.
Yeah.
So the primary function of a playmaker or of a point guard is to put his team in a position to score easy points. And that is what do you call it, Michael? What do you call it? Magic Johnson does. Is the best. If they show you the highlights of Magic Johnson today,
yeah,
with the way he handles the ball, the kind of throwaway face pass, all those kind of things that he does,
Yeah.
For a big man, you might look at his points average of 19 point something. Yes, you have to take into cognizance that he played with Karim Abdul-Jabbar, he played with James Wardy. Those guys
Uh-huh.
are primary scorers.
Elgin
So his
Baylor.
primary function in that Jim Baylor his primary function in that team is not to
It's to
score. But
facilitate,
in
not
terms
to
of
score.
putting
Exactly.
it to facilitate, in terms of putting that team in, and consider that it's 6'9". It's very hard for you to see players as tall as that in that point guard position. Now, coming back to Steph Curry, I think last year I've been able to see the playing making part of Steph Curry that we hardly see, probably because of the system of the what do you call it of Golden State Warriors that makes Draymond Green more of a point forward because of the ball
Yeah.
movement. I think
Uh-huh.
most of the high volume scoring point guard we have today are more of a shooting guard. Steph Curry for me is more of a two guard rather than a one guard. Yeah, because of the way most of them that hardly facilitate. I think probably the last set of that kind of point guard we've known is probably Chris Paul that does that number. So in terms of the point guard
Efficiently.
position is doing the job of a point guard. Of course, it has to be Magic Johnson. It is that straightforward and it is not even debatable.
All right, all right. So your reputation is intact. You are not sitting on the fence. Your opinion is intact. A big good up for Olani. Yeah. Good one, my brother. I still love you. I was thinking today is today. I'll stop loving you, but I still love you. Anyways, just before we go on the show, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I really want to talk about this. Drew Holiday to Celtic, Demolinia to the Celtic box, change the whole dynamics in the Eastern Conference. Before now, it's 76 stars, the Bucks and the Miami Heat, but now and the Celtics, but now looks like the Bucks and the Boston Celtics, are the team to beat. Anyways, catch us on our IG for this one. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it today, but we love you guys. We'll see you again next week. My name is Elijah Adebo Ali, and it's still 60 minutes. As a matter of fact, 62 minutes of sport with Newsinstanta. See you again next week. Bye, guys.